once again, and welcome to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry, the Let's Try program here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian, and I will be your navigator once again for today through the proceedings. But before we get any farther into what we're doing, we want to remind you that what we do is brought to you by you, the viewer. Or more accurately, the patron over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. You are the reason we're able to do all of the things here that we love doing, you love watching, and when we get together, we can have a good time at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Of course, you can also check us out at our various other places of commerce, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun for the panoply of channels there. Twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun, where we broadcast live, and store.loadingreadyrun.com, where you can purchase goods with our various logos on it at your leisure. Thank you so much for all of your support, however you choose to do so, whether it's monetarily or watching background, foreground content, doesn't matter. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everyone. Get them here at loadingreadyrun.com. Today, we're going to be doing something that's, it's a bit of a hybrid project. I very much do not like to come into the project and say, here's something I made earlier. So we're not quite going to do that, but we are going to possibly end with the where I currently sit with this thing. This is an Asus AMD BC-250 ASIC mining card, which is was previously used for mining some form of crypto technology. Let's show you the business end. That's a lot more interesting, I think. It's got a lot going for it, actually. Well, no, it doesn't have much going for its stock. It mines coin at a rate that is less efficient per watt than it is now in other machines, and so therefore these things are being sold off at a huge discount, fire sale wise, just to get rid of them. At least they were.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least they were.
Yes.
Now the secret's out.
Yeah, there was a discovery recently that found that you are able to change the firmware on these to give them a little bit more of openness to them and allow you to install Linux on them. Now, nerds in the audience may think, oh, installing Linux on something. What a fantastic Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. Ian hasn't done that yet. But let me remind you that Linux now runs games. That's right, kids. You can now game on Linux. And actually quite well. Of course, many of you may be aware of the upcoming Steam box coming later, a physical manifestation of the Steam Deck, which is also physical. Don't think too much about it. But that's essentially what this is. What is this? Well, it's a compact motherboard built around AMD's Cyan Skillfish APU, which was originally designed for cryptocurrency mining.
Sorry, Skillfish?
Cyan Skillfish is the code name for it, yeah. Doesn't one love it? Essentially, though, what you also might recognize, you wouldn't recognize it from this, but if you shaved off the top of the main APU in here and had a look at it, you might say to yourself, that looks a lot like a PS5 with a couple of cores missing. And you'd be right. This is very similar to the hardware that lives inside the PS5. We're not going to be putting PS5 software on here. We're going to be running Steam on Linux. So and it's not going to be easy. It is going to be easy, but that's a relative term compared to what the first peoples had to do to get these things running. And I want to say,
yes. I remember going to the museum and seeing all the difficulties that the first peoples had to deal with getting Linux installed on systems.
But to bring it back around, big thankouts, wow, to electrickim.github.io and his AMD BC-250 docs, and to the folks at the associated Discord. You can find out a lot of information there, a lot of new information. Some of the information that will be linked in the video in the doobly-doo is a little bit out of date, but it's still a very good start to things. So, a few caveats before we do anything well, not even a few caveats. Let's talk about specifications. This thing's got 6 AMD Zen 2 cores running at 3.5 megahertz.
Ooh,
Overclockable.
that's so many megahertz.
It's got 24 RDNA 2 compatible compute units with up to 1,536 shaders. 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 shared memory. And a thermal profile of 220 watts. 50 watts at idle and 235 at maximum. But it by stock, it runs hot and fast. So we will have to do some software correction to throttle things down under non-load, because it's a mining PC. Generally, these things just get turned on, run at maximum power forever until they're no longer functional, and then are removed from the rack and sold for cheap.
Now, do you know what the duty cycle of this particular one has been? Like, hopefully this hasn't been already run into the ground.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long this has been on for. There might be something in the BIOS. I don't think there actually is, but it seems fine. There was no excess dust in the heat sink. It came together very clean. It didn't smell bad. My guess is that some people got these, ran them for a while, and then just didn't. There's a lot of life to them still. But there is a bit of a lottery in terms of when you purchase it. If you don't know the provenance of it, it could be old and busted. It could be new, but you'll find out when you get one, if you get one.
Now you say it's got like the same chips as a PS5. Mm-hmm. Has anybody actually gotten like PS5 firmware running on one?
No. There's a lot. There's a lot more. When you say the same chips, you got to understand that there's a lot of other hardware and software customization that goes on in a PS5 or in an Xbox. I was very excited way back in the day with the original Xbox. I thought, ooh, it's running a PowerPC processor. I should be able to throw a Mac OS on there with no problem. And I don't think that's still happened yet.
I remember like the Xbox was the first console that I was like, hey, wait a minute. I have that graphics card.
Yep. And then the PS4 was the first thing that I was an Intel boy on, and realized, ooh, same processor, ooh, same base operating system, FreeBSD. And of course, no, you can't just take PlayStation games, put them on PC hardware. You can emulate them, but that's a different show, as Alton Brown would say. But let's talk cost here just fairly quickly up front. To make this happen, you're going to need to get a hold of one of these cards. Best places to find them right now are eBay and AliExpress. They were extremely cheap for a reasonable amount of time, where you could find them for as low as $50 US. That's no longer the case now that people have figured out about them. The going rate right now is around 200 Canadian. You can probably fairly easily find one of those. And as time goes on and the hype dies down, they'll probably get a little bit lower before they go back up as stock arrives or stock diminishes, because they're not making any new ones of these. But here's the biggest caveat. Don't get this if you want a plug-and-play Steambox. It does take a certain amount of work to get it running. And even if you do get it running, the stability that it is going to provide you with is not going to be anywhere near that of a dedicated PC or a dedicated console. You do this because, for the love of the game, and by the game I mean not the video games, but the game of making, of futzing around with old hardware and turning e-waste into something fun. So yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, now, assuming it's all working, mm-hmm. Theoretically, it should be punching way above, like the part, obviously the e-waste thing is always good, and messing around with Linux is fun. But theoretically, if you can get one of these things for like $200, mm-hmm. it's going to be punching way above its weight in terms of what you could get in a PC for $200.
Price performance, yeah. So spoiler territory. I have been experimenting with it, playing around with it, and it, like I said, it's finicky, but when it works, it gives you performance roughly on par with a Radeon 6600 XT, from my understanding. And we'll probably run a benchmark too, once we've got everything up and going. But that's the sort of performance you're going to get out of here. You're not looking at RTX 3090 levels, but you are looking at, you're going to get 60 frames per second roughly in most games at 1080p, and you can bump that up to 1440 for a few things. But you're not looking at a 4K gaming rig with maximum ray tracing on this one. But yes, as our Collider in the chat says, you've seen video with Cyberpunk 2077 running. It does. And in fact, the notoriously unoptimized and generally terribly running Romeo is a Dead Man will also run fine on this. And I find that, 1080p is quite fine for gaming. In fact, I would prefer to run at 1080p and jack up the quality than jack up the resolution and turn down the texture quality, etc.
As a note, I'm seeing that card roughly 350 Canadian.
Oh, wow. So it's actually gone up in the meantime then. That said, a lot of places where you'll see them on eBay have the make an offer version. And if you do decide to go this route, do make a lowball offer. They're not moving that quickly. But you're going to need some stuff to get this running. So you're going to need the card, which your mileage on prices may vary. You're also going to need a 12-volt power supply with a PCIe 8-pin connector. You can get, I have chosen a 400-watt Flex ATX power supply. It's tiny. I went this way because I kind of worked backwards from choosing what kind of case design I wanted to use, backwards to the device itself. So this is going to slot in. You can also get different power supplies that are super tiny and bare circuit boards and require you to solder the cables on. But this is a nice plug-and-play solution, easy. You can have that for roughly under $100 for those, between 50 and 100. You're going to need, and this is important, a non-active, and I stress this, non-active DisplayPort to HDMI cable, because this does not have, let's have a look at the ports there. This does not have HDMI. You've got your two USBs in the 2.0 variety. You've got your DisplayPort. You've got your two USB 3.1s, and you've got yourself a gigabit Ethernet, which is also important because it does not contain networking by itself, and I just realized we may need to string a network cable, but we can deal with that later. We don't need that right now.
So this was, because of course when these would be in a rack, there wouldn't be monitors hooked up to them.
Exactly.
They're not intended to be graphics.
Yeah, they're not even intended to be headless PCs. They're just intended to be things that you load into with some SSH and just let them run.
Now, would a DisplayPort capable monitor
work? Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
if you've got DisplayPort on the other end, then you're golden right there.
Okay.
And the reason you need the passive cable version rather than an active one is because there's a bug in the firmware around DisplayPort audio not working properly with this card. But if you use the passive cable, apparently it does just work fine.
Right, because of course there isn't actually any audio output on this.
Exactly. Again, interesting things about the power supply too. You might want to consider. You probably want 300 watts or more, 250 watts at the minimum. You're looking at maximum load, 235 watts, and can exceed 250 if you patch the firmware and start overclocking this thing up to some amazing speeds. Mm-hmm. Cooling. This is where it's going to get interesting because cooling is going to dictate what is going to be dictated by what sort of case you have. So you can get yourself a blower and an adapter and just fire air through this thing. It's meant to be designed. They're rack mounted, so they're meant to be designed with a blower fan on one end, and you can see all the way through there. Look at that.
Ooh.
It just goes through. But I'm going to be a little bit different because I will have a 2-fan cooling solution when I'm eventually done with it, which means I'm probably going to want to cut out this flat top here, which will be tricky and difficult and fun, and we may or may not at least try some of that today, but not going to make any promises. But cooling, you're going to need either a pass-through selection or cut the fins open and then dual fans on both sides. You can put some a heat sink on this side. This is where all your RAM is, and it's connected by some cooling pads. There's some cooling pads on the interior of the heat sink here, as well as your regular paste-based cooling interface solution between the heat sink and the main processor. You can swap out the cooling pads and the cooling grease if you like to, but it's the current thought process on that is you probably don't need to. It's probably fine. You might get another degree or two, but you're not going to be seeing huge amounts of temperature difference there. But yeah, the key is you need a lot of fans because this is meant to have air go right through it.
Right, one of those sort of heavy-duty rack fan setups.
Exactly. You're going to need a couple other things. You're going to need a couple of USB sticks. One of them you're going to need for flashing the firmware, and the other you're going to need for installing the OS. So choose your size of your stick.
Will it be running from the stick, or is there internal is there any internal?
There is no internal storage on these. No. However, eagle-eye viewers may have noticed.
Oh, got some SSD header?
No SSD headers, but you do have a NVMe slot right there.
Right, yeah.
And so that's what you'll end up using for your storage. I don't think it has the ability to add SATA. You could probably run SATA off of the NVMe slot, but why would you at that point?
Right.
And I believe, and you'll need one other thing, unless you're going to be real nasty and bridge your power connectors in your ATX power supply or ITX power supply. You'll need some form of a switch. So this just takes your motherboard connector and puts a little switch on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of handy. And then, of course, you'll need some form of a case. And that's an exercise to the viewer. Head on over to Printables, Thingiverse, etc., etc. There are so many options out there, and I've got one that I was able to print, well, honestly, let's have a look, this much of. And then I came back in 6 hours later, and everything looked like it was moving fine. The print top looked beautiful. Then I realized that the print head was about here, still running over top of it, because
the filament had gotten jammed.
Yeah. This was just random filament. I got so cocky that I managed to solve the adhesion problem. Look how flat that is. That's not normal. For me, managed to get things flat and just figured, hey, let's try and use the wood impregnated filament that I got from the thrift store just off the shelf, and it worked great until it clogged the nozzle. And so now I have to find some way of cleaning the nozzle, which will take a very long time. But at least we got this far, and I can test fit some things like the power supply. It should go in. Like that.
I see. It's so it's supposed to be much. I was like, how is that card going to fit into that box?
It will eventually fit like this. With I believe this will come out the back end. Thusly.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess we'll need to take the card off, but it looks good. And now it's just a holder for stuff for me. In the meantime,
it's funny. I've seen like small form factor computers in cases kind of like that, and usually they're set up like that, and then there's like a little motherboard, and then what would be there would be like rather than the entire computer in this case, it would be just like some giant graphics card would be set up on the side.
Yeah, like on a PCI riser.
Yeah.
Now, first thing we got to do here before I think that's all the prerequisites you're going to need to get things on here. Oh yes, you're going to need a modified BIOS file and the BIOS flashing utility, both available at the link that is provided below. And I believe you'll also need, if you want wireless connectivity, you'll need some form of a wireless card.
Or like a USB.
USB Wi-Fi card. Choose one that will work with your flavor of Linux that you're intending to install, either Bazzite, CatchyOS, Debian, or whatever your particular flavor is. Arch, I believe, is also a good idea. You'll also want Bluetooth as well. Weirdly, we'll get to this. A Bluetooth adapter I was about to toss out because it was no longer usable or reliable on my desktop PC has turned out to be rock solid on this thing. So, surprise, surprise there. And then, of course, if you aren't going to be using the DisplayPort to HDMI, you will need some form of audio adapter if you want to be making a 6K gaming to HDMI or any system where you have to use an active adapter for the DisplayPort. Let's see here, cases, good. You got tools. I like to run quick and dirty, but you may want some form of a BIOS programmer. The guide recommends a CH341A. That's if you mess up and need to interface directly with the BIOS chip, should that have failed for some reason. And that otherwise is everything you need to actually get this thing working. So let's get ourselves set up here. Most of the stuff you're doing to begin with, you can do without a fan. In terms of flashing the BIOS, getting it installed, it's not going to be pulling too much power. It's not going to be overheating for that. But first thing we do want to do is get rid of one of these tabs here on the side, because that's just going to get in the way of our cooling solution. So let's unscrew that, and we'll leave the other side on for whatever reason. Right now, it provides some stability. But let's keep this around. And look at the screwdriver when you screw them back in again. There we go. That might be useful at some point. And so yes, I have actually purchased some cooling, or rather, made my own.
Neat.
This is an Arctic fan of some form. It's made for 120 millimeter, high enough static pressure to do it, and it'll get the job done. So this,
it's like a special. You made, so you got the fan, but then you printed the cowling to direct it.
Yeah, and that turns it into effectively a blower for, my bench top working. Mm-hmm. This little piece here that I'm sliding on will just block the air from going out the wrong way. There we go, and that mates up with you can see the power adapter here, or the power connector.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and then we're just going to, you've got your CPU fan right here, your fan headers. So we'll throw our CPU fan on there, already wired through the blower. And then we're going to slide this on here thusly, and there we go.
Ooh.
Now we have air flowing.
Neat.
So all we need to do now is connect up our PCI power supply, which, let's do the motherboard.
This reminds me, there's a YouTube channel that I see stuff on sometimes that they've been doing like a fan, 3D printed fan showdown thing.
Ooh.
He's been doing it for quite a while now, but sort of starting with, he has like a standardized fan hub. Mm-hmm. that's like a knock to a good quality fan. And then he has people send him STL files, and he'll print out different fan orientations and different blade geometries and different people come up with all sorts of silly ideas. And to see if they can, make something better than the stock fan.
That is a fascinating idea.
Yeah, and there's lots of silly stuff, and then they actually have come up with some pretty solid ideas, depending on what kinds, and then they sort of optimize for different, optimize for static pressure versus optimizing for reduction in actual temperature versus different things.
Because the physics is very different between the two of those. All right. So it's not difficult to plug these in. You really can't mess it up and if you do, then wow, you found the square hole in the best possible way. Let's see, what's the best orientation to see what's going on here? That seems good. That will most. There we go. There we go. Now you can see the ports and all that. Speaking of which, we'll need to connect our display port. And let's see. HDMI 1. And here we go. All right, we are locked and loaded. Are we ready for first boot? Just to see how this goes.
So right now, is this sort of stock right now? It's we haven't. It's got to have a firmware stuff and things?
Yeah, we don't even have a. We do not even have a drive installed on here yet. Does this have physical controls? The monitor? Yeah, there's a button. It's just like to the side of the middle, in the bottom middle. Oh yeah. Ah, just to the side. Ah, there it is.
I don't know why TV manufacturers feel that the buttons on the television are a source of they're somehow unsightly, and they can't be saving that much money.
No. It's too easy to find the button. Wow, that took a while to boot.
I did a whole rant about that in that episode of Loading Ready Live that I did by myself about my home television that has only touch sensitive buttons, screen printed in dark gray on a black background.
Oh, I forgot one very important thing that you're going to need here. Didn't forget it at home, but forgot it here. And you're going to want a keyboard, because you are going to need to interact with the BIOS directly.
I mean, we're already into the BIOS, though. That's something, anyway.
Yeah, and it's looking good. At least we've got the build date on that, and that is December 9th of 2021.
A good vintage.
Yes, very good. Oh. So let's plug in the keyboard here.
You just wanted to flex with your awesome keyboard, didn't you?
This has been one of the best purchases I've made for lab work, just because it's got everything in a nice compact area. And both the PS2 and USB. All right, so what are the reasons for actually flashing the BIOS? Well, it means that you can dynamically set the VRAM splits between 8. Normally, it would just say you're going to get 512 for the OS, and the graphics cards is getting the rest. And maybe you kind of want to split that up in a different way. You probably do, actually. There are also...
But is that something that you have to lock in? It's not a dynamic allocation?
There is. One of the settings does allow for dynamic allocation, but it's not in the stock firmware, unfortunately. But there are two also firmwares available to flash. You've got your P3 chipset menu, which is the one that I've been testing and running and works pretty well. And then there's P5, which is based on newer stock code, but and does unlock all the adjustability in the BIOS, right down to your voltages and such. But you can do a lot of that from the governor scripts that will be installed later on. So there's no reason to do that. And it also provides more opportunity for you to hose your board completely, which you probably don't want.
Fair.
Yeah. You got a couple options to flash it. You can flash it using USB, which is what we'll use today, or you can connect it directly to the board, and that's something if you know what I'm talking about by using a CMOS flasher, then you can do that. I don't recommend going that route if that's your first time flashing something up. So, to do so, head on over to your to GitHub and go get the link to download the fresh BIOS. I'm just double checking that I've got it already installed. I do on my disk here, and then you're going to use your favorite USB formatting utility to clear all partitions off of the stick. Format it as FAT32, and then add the various files as you'll need to, because you're booting into EFI, which is something we don't all get to do every day. So yeah, let's do that. I'm just gonna turn this sucker off.
You know, there are poor deprived children in the world that never get to boot into EFI.
It's true. It's true.
So sad.
Okay, let's turn it off, turn it back on. It should boot directly to the flash drive because we have nothing.
Not EXFAT? No, definitely not EXFAT.
No.
No.
Not for EFI. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna hit escape to skip the startup.nsh.
Startup.nosh.
And we've got ourselves a shell. Ooh. So.
Hi, shell.
Let's see what we get. We're gonna type blk0 : space, and that gets us into block 0. And then that selects our USB drive. Then we are going to, one of the files you'll have in here will be a script to do the flashing, which is quite simply a flash.nsh. And then we don't touch anything.
This is the dangerous time.
Yes, but it's also kind of cool. I love seeing things happen in in embedded fonts like this.
Yeah.
It's always fun. But yeah, it's amazing that it's got to get in there, erase the block, reflash the block, check the block, all fun stuff.
This is the thing where it's like, it's swapping the floor while jumping in the air.
Yep.
Basically.
So while we're doing this, let's talk about what the next step will be, which is going to be important, and this is very important, clearing the CMOS settings, because again, and this is a hacked BIOS, and you need to make sure everything is nice and clean to be able to, that there's no residual bits flipped in the wrong place that are now supposed to be bit flipped in a different place.
So do you just pull the battery, or do you...
There are a couple options, Paul, actually. Number one, yeah, you can just pull the battery. I'm keeping this on here because, we might as well provide some cooling while it's doing its thing. But underneath here, let me pull that closer that way, and you can see over top, I think.
Yeah.
There's the CMOS battery around down here, but there's also a nice little jumper that you can just then move the jumper to the clear position and put it back. I find it's just a little bit easier to than trying to finagle a battery out of those battery holders.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, now we're in the NCB block. I don't know what the NCB block is, but
got the boot block, the NVRAM block, and then the NCB block, and then the main block.
It's Just ruining everything.
Yeah.
It's VBot says, Ian, moving it during a BIOS flash just made my everything crawl. Now, thankfully, I do have BIOS flashers at home, so I can recover. Well, potentially I could recover from this if it went bad, but we're good. Okay, great.
When BIOS flashes go bad.
Okay, we need to power off the machine now. Power down. Let's remove the USB stick because we don't need that anymore. Let's open the fan area. And I'm not sure if you got the top down there, Paul.
Yep, got the
Great.
top down.
Okay. Yes. Which way do I need to go? This way again.
Here, I can shift it a little bit.
Great. We're looking at, and actually I'm going to turn the power off on the power supply so that we don't have, and I'm also going to disconnect the power supply. Now, here's our battery. We could, as I said, pull that out and hope for the best there. But we also have, again, the CMOS flasher there. So let's just move that to the clear position. And let's give it a half minute or so. Meanwhile, let's swap our bit for our driver, because we're going to need to get our drive ready. Now, thankfully, I just came into possession of recently came into possession of a NVMe drive that had Windows 11 on it. So let's take care of that, shall we?
I was going to say, if Windows 11 complains about being installed on, this computer that I'm on right now, I bet it's not going to be very happy about being installed on whatever this thing is.
Oh, no, we'll get rid of all those nasty partitions there, friend. Okay, we are now 40 seconds into the flash, so we should be able to now push that down. Let's get our fans back in connection.
I learned the other day that my computer at home, because it's got a, it's a fairly small setup, so it's got like a micro ATX board, and I guess there's not enough room on the board for like the standard CMOS battery.
Oh, wow.
So it has like a battery. So the CMOS battery is like in a little sort of.
Is it in its own little raincoat?
Yeah, it's like it's sealed in like a heat shrink plastic with like two little wires to then go and plug into a header on the board.
Yeah, literally the same battery, but just encased in.
Which is super annoying because, of course, I have a bunch of CMOS batteries that I could just swap if I needed to, except don't have all this wires and stuff. Yeah. Ugh.
All right, that's it. That was the flash.
All right.
Let's turn this sucker on. And flash dat, or not flash, but mash delete so that we can adjust the BIOS. Okay, here we are. And look at that. System date is incorrect, which means we did everything correctly. Yes, I said that right. Today is 03/12? 12.
12, yes.
And 2026, which is a Thursday. Time is now 18:31 and good enough. The system language is English. Good. Let's move over and set the things that we need to set. So let's go ahead over to chipset. And this is what I'm talking about, it being a hacked BIOS. Oh yeah, you can't see that.
Sorry, let me move you over here.
Thanks, Paul. That doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Or it shouldn't, at least. Okay, oh no, no. I need to remember which one is the one that selected the blue. Okay, the white one is the one that selects. The blue forgets. And graphics configuration, we need to set integrated graphics controller to forces.
What's NB Azalea?
Well, that enables integrated HD audio controlling.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing that's buggy. Again, works well with
That's for growing azaleas.
yeah. Fucking azaleas. All right, UMA mode. Do we need to change that? Yes, we do. We need to do specified. And the frame buffer. That's where we set 512. So this is the one where we're setting the split between our memory and our graphics memory and system memory. The thing is, if you set it to 512 like this, that's the actual auto setting that allows the system to be able to change allocation on the fly.
Oh, because I was going to say like 512 is pretty anemic.
Generally not enough, no.
For everything.
Yeah. Okay, so we got that, and that auto is fine for that. So let's escape. And let's make sure everything else is just auto. Yep. Okay. Chipset. What else do we need here?
I mean,
We need to find IMMOU.
I'm used to going through my BIOS on my regular computer and there being a bunch of settings that I don't quite understand. But in this case, that's really happening. There's a lot of settings that either are wrong or just non-existent or just labeled weirdly.
All right, so with our IOMMU disabled, we should be good now to press 10 to save and exit. And that'll just boot us back into the into the thing anyway. All right, I think that's everything that you need to do to get it up to and installing. So let's talk a bit for a second now about OSs for you. You can put straight Linux on here and use it in desktop configuration mode. Like you just throw a Debian, throw an Arch, what have you. But recently, you may have become aware of distributions like Bazite and Catchy OS that claim to be gaming focused and a little bit easier of an experience, and sometimes even a deck-like experience, like the Steam Deck booting you directly into into the Steam big picture mode.
Right, it's sort of like, the sort of big picture, whatever, 10-foot interface kind of thing, like the sort of designed to be on a TV rather than
Exactly.
on a computer.
And oftentimes, these gaming-focused distros, like the Catchy and the Bazite, will also include kernel optimizations for hardware specifically and also for gaming to get latency as low as possible. So if you're looking to use this for gaming, which you probably are, because why would you use it this as a desktop? This is ridiculous.
You probably are, because of course you are, yeah.
I would recommend a gaming focused. I have chosen Bazite as my personal one, but that's because the one I got to work, and that's because, again, as we've said before, these things are touchy. In fact, we'll see how it goes today, but actually no, we're not going to see how it goes because we're going to install the same one. I had to end up, I've chosen Catchy, I've tried out Bazite, I've tried out, I think, straight Debian, but the one that ended up working for me, for the most of them, was the desktop version of Bazite, booting directly into Steam Big Picture. For some reason, that's the only way I could get mine to work without crashes. I'm sure this is just your basic Linux troubleshooting that I'm going to need to be going through at some point in the future to make it work properly. But for the moment, that it's working, and so you don't touch it once it's working. But
I've heard good things about Bazite.
Yeah, it's
as a sort of open source Steam Deck thing.
Yeah. So, well, we're going to see some of it tonight, Paul. Mm-hmm. But let's get right into that here, because we've ostensibly gone to bazite.gg or whatever it is downloaded our image. We've grabbed Rufus. We've used that to image Bazite to a stick. You're going to need at least 16 gigabytes, which is why I've got the rubber one today. Yeah. Let's move the keyboard over to USB 2 so we can make use of all the bandwidth we've got on this USB 3 port. Plug that in. Do some strain relief. And let's head on over to the boot menu and restart. Okay, now it should pull us from our USB. Oh, there we are. And we're going to go with We're going to go with the basic basics graphics mode. Previously, on previous versions of Bazite, it was suggested that you should never choose the basic graphics mode because it sets the system in a state that will not run the accelerated hardware.
But that is no longer the case.
No longer the case. They have patched that on the install. I just like to keep it in basic mode because you're running the system now without a governor script, which is something that will control your CPU voltages, your GPU voltages, and your fans in order to keep this thing from running at full power all the time, which it is now currently doing. We're shoving as much power to the chip as it can take, and sometimes that's too much.
I like that you can see how much trouble people have finding the on button on this monitor by all the fingerprints around the edges of the screen.
Yes, every corner.
Just every time somebody has to turn on this monitor, they're just doing the full surrounding.
Yeah. So, welcome to the live ISO for Bazite. This is designed for you installation and troubleshooting. It does not have drivers and is not capable of playing games. Do not use it to benchmark, as it doesn't represent the installed experience. They're right.
So is the idea that you'll install it like this, and then you can take this and turn it into the full install with all the graphics, or
that's what we're doing right now, Paul.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, we're gonna run a quick install and let it do its thing.
So it's currently in the sort of minimum graphics mode, and then it can go up to. It gets the drivers to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because CatchyOS is I can't remember if it's the rolling OS or the other one. Either way, you can rebase it from desktop version to full game version to full deck version if you want to, with just a couple of command lines.
Neat.
It's really kind of handy that way. So we've got our keyboard, we've got our language, English, yeah. Date and time seems correct. No, that's not right at all. But you know what? We'll use some NTP servers. There we go. We are in America. New York is the problem.
I do like that up until surprisingly recently, a new install of Windows would do the same thing. It would boot into the it would be 640 by 480, 16 colors while it installed itself.
I found part of that also is leaving your PC in regular BIOS boot mode. If you force it to boot into UEFI, you generally get better graphics all the way up. Mm. Now here's the thing that someone pointed out interestingly is that we're gonna have to find out very soon by the end of this year whether Vancouver in our time zones refers to Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, Canada, because as of later this year, that will be divergent.
I mean, also, all of the depending on where they're getting that list of names from.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've only got one destination, the Samsung SSD. Currently installed Windows. Well, we're not going to do that. Share your disk with other systems? No. Use
Embedded.
entire disk. No encryption. We don't need that.
Here we like to use the entire disk.
All right, let's go.
All the
Loading.
parts of the
Ready.
disk.
Run. And we don't need no stinking root account. All right, and it says we're going to delete all of these partitions. I like that. I understand that all data will be erased.
Note: Windows will be deleted.
Oh, that's a happy. Yeah. They really do need to rephrase this, though. Do you mean that all data existing everywhere in the world? Click to erase all data. Yes.
Stream goes down.
Yep. And that is an installation. And because we're very near the top of the hour, and this is going to take about 5 to 7 minutes, this sounds like a fantastic time for us to take a short break. So everyone, get up, swap your fluids, stretch your legs, and we'll be back with a fresh coat of bazite on this here card in just a few minutes. Don't go all the way away. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name's Ian, and we are putting Linux on an Asus BC-250 mining rig that we're turning into a little bit of a, I'd say DIY Steambox. We're just finished installing Bazite OS. It's running the post-installation scripts. I've thrown in a cheeky network card so that we can have access to the network. And so the next step is that we're going to do some configuration of the on the machine here. Now I'm just checking here. This is one of those things again where there's a couple of options for cooling. And have they added them? Community resources. Nope. Okay. Oh, wait. The Viets man? Is he the guy? Nope, those are old scripts. Okay. This is one of those cases where you'll probably want to sign up for the Discord as well to get yourself running fully. Are we done? Are we done here?
There may be some gotchas or little things.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's probably rather than try to install or get Discord running on my on this laptop, I'm probably going to be going full Linux on it soon. It's Windows 10 is showing its age, but there we go.
More less showing its age and more, actively self-destructing, because Microsoft is telling it to.
Oh man, they've got all sorts of new stuff on here for cases in the last week since I've dealt with it. Okay, let's exit the exit to desktop. Wrong computer. Exit to desktop, and then let's shut her down. So, speak to this case here a bit as we shut this thing down. You may notice that there's a couple of little blisters here, and that's if you want to choose one of those extremely small, what do they call them? BFP? I can't remember. Basically a bare power supply that you're soldering your own boards on. That's designed for the proper size, so you can just screw that down and have a minimalist system.
Oh, neat. When I saw that, I was initially thought that those were like feet for it to stand on, and then I was like, wait, no, that doesn't work at all.
Yeah. I have been running mine in a vertical configuration to get a little bit more, some evaporative heat off of the base plate there.
Makes sense.
But at the moment, we're showing it off, so it takes a second. Power yourself off, gamer. There we go. And that's it. It's a push button install. It's kind of amazing what you can do in 2026 with high technology. So once get that out, you just unplug the USB, and the system should automatically recognize that it's got a SSD with an OS on it. And if it doesn't, then we've had some mistakes. But this is looking good so far. Yep, there we go. We had had a little bit of grub there. And Bob is your uncle.
Bazite is your uncle.
Say goodbye to your Bazite. All right. So Bazite setup on the list tells me that there's a script available from a good friend called NextGen3D on GitHub. And I'm just going to bring that up here. Actually, we can bring it up there in a second once it comes up.
There have been lots of questions about the model of this keyboard.
The model of this keyboard? Oh, God, I used to remember the name of it. Well, if you like the keyboard model number, it's KB8861. And the only thing I've ever found out about it that I believe this is a Cherry Financial keyboard.
Is the Apple sticker part of it, or is
No,
that
no. This is an Apple sticker from, I believe, a Apple II disk drive system. However, you can crack open the case, and there is enough ribbon cable that if you'd prefer to have the trackpad on the bottom and the keyboard up on the top, you can do that too.
Ooh.
But I like it because it saves space on the keyboard, because you don't have, you can put your mouse here or your trackball or whatever. You can also use that one if you want to. But you still have the full numpad for number entry. You still have your full suite of arrow keys, home, page up, scroll lock, etc. And up to F12.
Yeah, the F keys in a grid like that is kind of wacky.
It is a little weird to get used to, but if you're a Mac user and you end up using your F keys mainly as a macro pad.
Exactly, yeah. It makes sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it means that your muscle memory won't get messed up. Now, on the other hand, doing a Control-Alt-Delete on this thing is, well, you've got a couple options. But I also like that it does have a second set of arrow keys and page up and page home down along the left edge and down here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Swank.
Oh, hey, look, we're about to log in.
Oh, hey.
Now, of course, you can set this to auto login however you like. You can set things to auto start. But I was talking with Paul and Beach after during the break, and the reason I've chosen this version of Bazite is because this is the Bazite Desktop GNOME edition, because that's the only one I could get to work on my BC-250. I've tried Bazite KDE, I've tried Ketchy, I've tried Straight Arch, I've tried Straight Fedora, and this was the only one that I could get to work without crashes.
Now, is that like a known thing, or
No.
So other people have gotten other systems to work no problem?
Yeah, this one seems to be unique to me a problem. Things may have changed because software may have updated, but this is not a tested piece of hardware against any distribution whatsoever. But on the other hand, it works, which means that the other things should work as well, right? So I think this is a case of Ian has to go in and do the full Linux troubleshooting setup system. But for now,
I mean, or you could just use the one that works, I guess. Unless this doesn't do something that you need.
exactly. Having it boot into, I have it set right now to boot, well, you'll see in a second, because I brought a second drive. The drive that I'm currently working on. I wanted you all to see how this works, though. And it's pretty easy. So right now, fan's moving pretty hard. It's on pretty heavy. That's a problem because we don't want it to always be like that. We want it, when it's in idle like this, to be using less power, to be getting less hot. So let's do that. That means we're going to...
So right now the like fan control and monitoring is not active.
Yeah, exactly. There is in fact no monitoring. Let me see if I can get a terminal up here.
Like,
well, actually, we don't even have anything to check our stuff with anyway, or our sensors. The sensors are not even added. However, there's a guy who's put together a script that gives you the sensors, gives you the governor script, and sets it up pretty okay for you. So we're going to do that right now. Sensors? There we go, yeah.
Reminds me of a thing. I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be the case that on iMac, on Mac computers, on the iMacs, if you had a hard crash, like if you had a kernel panic crash, if you didn't know that when it crashes, it turns off all the fans to full blast because it has lost contact. It's lost contact with its governing system, and so it can't get the temperature monitors anymore. So to be safe, it turns up all the fans, which is a smart move. But also, if you don't know it's doing that, suddenly your computer is crashed and is making way more noise than you have ever heard it make before. Because those, iMacs almost never actually run their fans at full blast.
Yeah, but you can see right now here, God, is that? Yep, we're looking at 800 millivolts for our VFX.
That doesn't seem like very many volts.
No, not. We're doing pretty okay actually right now. 56 degrees is not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
Could be much. Nope, go away. Thank you. Come back. Okay, let's bring up Firefox and get ourselves an script. Now, of course, if you're going to be pulling a script down off the internet, do yourself a favor and learn how to read it to make sure it's not pulling in anything untoward. But the nice thing about being a part of a community is that people tend to check each other's work.
Let me know if we get into any stuff that I should show on the
Absolutely.
stream.
I think we're actually safe right now. Probably, honestly, the closest thing to being a thing you shouldn't show is the Steam barcode. Someone could attempt to log into Steam on this machine, and then have access to all your Steam games.
But, I mean, people can just do that. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Machine tree/main. Okay. So we got that here. Have they changed this? To install the 16 gigabyte script, copy and paste all of these lines into your terminal all together and hit enter. So it's going to do its thing, do the scripts. Let's let it do the scripts.
The script is called Blue Pill.
Yeah. We have fun here in the internet. All right. Oh, T? How do I get a new tab? Terminal. Help me out here. Great, there we go. And pasta. Go. All right, that went 200. Great. And then we're going to swap into SU mode. And
goes red. I like that.
that's it. Good. Nope. Huh. There we go. Forgot which password to use. And then we'll just run the setup. And this will add some extra sensor information for the to the sensors program as well to get some more temperature and fan information. Previously, this setup guide suggests you use an Oberon governor, which is just a different governor script that has fewer levels of customization. Generally just hits you based on a temperature fan curve, whereas this guy's script installs a governor that does full-on voltage ramping levels.
Ooh.
It's very handy. And because I know that we are able to, because I know that this will work with overclocking, we can start the Cyan Skillfish Governor project. But we'll do that once we get back.
Wait, there's the blue pill and the red pill installation?
Yes, the red pill installation is more of a, if you want to send more, I guess you could say, VRAM to the chip. I haven't had a problem with it yet, but here we go. Here's a good example of some of the safe points that you can use in the script. You get safe at 220 or 2.25 gigahertz at a voltage of 1050 volts. Yes, or 1.075 volts rather. I don't do much overclocking, thankfully, but this sets things up very nicely. And in the meantime, let's actually grab something to benchmark with. Superposition. Good old superposition. Give me the Linux one.
2017. A good year for benchmarking.
It's a good old benchmarker.
I haven't seen this one. Usually, I don't know, I guess back when I actually did benchmarking stuff, it would be like 3D Mark or something.
Yeah. FurMark is one of the other ones I've used as well, and I've used that to do a burn-in test on this when I initially thought that it was just a heat issue that was causing me a lot of crashes. And the answer is no. It's VBot, yes, the script is written to survive a system update on Bazite, as far as I understand. Ooh, there we go. More deployment. Okay, so once we got our superposition, which we do, good, we are just about ready to reboot.
As you can see, yes, as some people noticed, as you can see, when they are working, we have quite fat pipes here in the office.
Yes.
Yeah, we have no reason to believe they will stop working again, but yes.
Yeah, so I was, other things you'll want to know about, because we'll probably run into at least one of them. This system has 3 different ways of crashing on you.
Oh.
Yeah, there's the green screen of death, the black screen of death, and the pink screen of death.
Oh, that's festive.
If your OS is the problem, that's probably going to be a black screen. If it's a CPU crash, you'll get a green screen. And if it's the graphics portion crashing, you'll get pink. I have got a lot of green screen crashes. In fact, the reason I have chosen this particular version of Bazite to install is because other versions of Bazite will green screen on me just in the middle of installation. Just for no reason.
Is that a configurable setting? What color it turns when it crashes?
Oh, that would be nice. No, I don't. I think that's set at a very deep level of the firmware.
I want it to go plaid.
I mean, I wouldn't mind loading in some PNGs in there too.
Just that picture of like from Desert Bus of like you with the kazoo and the technical difficulties.
Yeah, and the word "this is a type of crash." Crash. It took me a long time to figure out what the green screen even meant. Or that there were indeed other crash-based screens.
Have you now experienced all three?
No, I have not actually gotten the pink crash yet.
You should get some sort of Steam achievement for that.
Yeah. Let's see how our sensors are doing in the other tab here. So, yeah, we have increased in temperature up to 64 degrees according to the current sensors levels.
So when this thing kicks in, will we hear the fan shut down?
Oh, yeah, we're going to hear the fan once this kicks in. Because of two reasons. Again, this is a less than ideal situation for airflow, which is why we're looking at different situations.
Changes queued for next boot.
Good, good. Just give me a command prompt and let me type in the reboot command.
This is running pre-scripts, running post-scripts, running post-transcripts. It didn't seem to actually be running scripts anywhere in there. It's pre-post, but not. Shouldn't there be something in between those two?
I'm beginning this thing here. Yeah, where is the script? It's needed to do some updates too, it looks like, and add some repos and whatnot, so that's why it takes its time.
It's true. There could very well be both binary and non-binary scripts going on.
Well, in the meantime, we can at least unpack our engine. Flat pack. No, discard. I want you to run. Oh, I'll probably have to run that in a terminal. Staging deployment. All right, C down.
Home, loading ready to run, download something.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in the, like the NX3 something.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Also, looking at the monitor on edge like this is a great viewing experience, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Mod plus some X to the UN. I'm sorry. Oh, there's an R in there. Whew.
CHR mod.
CHmord. Okay, that's it. There we go. Let that go. Is this going in a loop?
Is it? Because like the thing it's saying it's installing, I assumed it was installing different things, but the file name appears to be the same each time.
Yeah. State independent.
Cyan, Skillfish,
Skillfish.
Governor, SMU.
Just going to check the the thread here and see if there's any issues there. Nope.
Yeah, like the checking out tree is the same number. Checking out tree. Oh, it's a good tree.
I like that tree. Okay. Just looked through the thread, and someone has asked, are these messages supposed to repeat in a loop? And then, never mind, it went forward. And the answer from the script writer is, yes, it's how RPM OS tree works. Just let it run.
All right. I mean, I guess it's better than the other thing. You know, Linux, I find Linux things are either like this, or they're just a sit there on the command line for half an hour and then, boop, give you something. Like they're totally quiet.
Ooh, we're generating our init or our FMS.
Init
Init RAM FS, that's it, yes.
Init RAM FS.
Which is a good sign. That means we're almost done.
We weren't doing that before, so yeah, we're doing something different here. Our ini tram.
And looking at things, we're still running steady at 65. And installation superposition is done.
Cool.
So we can deal with that later.
Once we get this thing sorted.
Exactly. Now, just as a heads up, the superposition is one of those things that would just never launch for me whatsoever from the command line or from the file system. But if I stuck it in Steam and then made it run through Proton, it worked fine, I guess.
So again, the slight jankiness of the whole setup.
Yeah. Okay, we're back to generating things. Okay,
Hey!
done. Good. It gives you lots of warnings because it's time for a warning. But
Please reboot.
yes, it is time for a reboot. So that's systemctl reboot. And Bob's your uncle. Let's see. I'm very curious to see how this is going to end up connecting, but it looks like everything works dimensionally, so.
Do you have to like scrap that, or can you actually like build the next piece of it and then attach it together, or?
So I did look into that, and unfortunately, while it is possible to pause a print, the technology to...
I guess it'd have to be perfectly situated back on the print bed.
Well, not only would it, like, even if I'd kept it there, and like measured with calipers to get a micrometer level of height, the fact that it's spent time cooling means that even if we do get the height perfectly, that might not line up with the layer heights for the next layer. And on top of that, because it's cooled too much, the adhesion between the next layer and the previous layer is going to be an extremely weak point.
So are you gonna have to just reprint that, or can you sort of print?
It's a full reprint from this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the design of it makes it actually kind of a nice little basket.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I can put fruit in there. Okay, let's bring up our terminal, and let's bring up our instructions from Firefox. Hoi, hoyo.
So now the fan doesn't seem quieter now.
Not yet, because we haven't actually started the
I see.
the governor. The governor.
I keep thinking of, hey, governor.
Right, white. Okay. And you want to enable that as well.
Just open and edit with Kate. Hey, Kate, edit this.
Anytime I hear the name Kate, I am all sent back to Japanese commercials for a makeup brand named Kate, whose tagline is "No more rules." Kate.
Whoa. That is intense for a makeup brand.
Yep. I do love it. Okay. And do I need to do any sort of configuration in terms of...
Is this lipstick or is it hair dye? Doesn't matter. No rules.
So yeah, at this point, you can get real deep in the weeds in terms of configuring your thing. But let's just see what superposition has to say for itself in terms of giving us a benchmark or something. Because I believe that's all we need to do to set this thing up. Base to patched image.
So are we are under the governating thing now?
Yeah. You can also go. Oh, you can also go in and disable the Spectre/Meltdown CPU mitigations if you feel safe about what you're installing on your machine.
Oh, right, because then because the things they had to do to make that happen slowed some stuff down a little bit.
Oh yeah, by about 10% is what they're saying.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that much.
This is the one that we need to do, is enable the module for pulse width modulation fan control. Need to echo the NCT 6687 and do T that into etc. modules, load D, and create an NCT 6687.conf. And then we're going to do systemctl reboot. And then we should be able to actually see the proper sensor information in there.
Neat.
One thing I like about Bazite is that their system script package for installing certain pieces of software and making configuration changes is UJust. So, for example, if we wanted to install cooler control, which is a GUI for fan curve management, we would type into the command UJust install -cooler control. It's cute.
I like that. I mean, it does, like, I haven't actually, I've heard about Bazite, but I haven't actually seen it before. It does look like they've spent a lot of effort on the making it as sort of user-friendly as possible.
Mm-hmm. It really feels like a desktop OS. Okay, there we go. So we've actually got a bunch more stuff here in the sensors.
So many sensors.
And you can see things are a little bit more accurate we've got 70, sensor 1, 90, 59, 70 on 2. Pump fan is currently going at 1714 RPM. CPU at 50.
I like CPU low, negative 273 degrees Celsius, high 65,261 degrees.
Would you like to experience the entire range of possible temperatures?
Yeah, if we're at that temperature, that we can safely say we should be turning on the fan at that point.
Yeah. All right, files. Here we go. So let's see if we get Ungent working here. Superposition. Go.
Now, were you saying we have to run it from within Steam, or are you just going to give it a shot?
I'm just going to give it a shot. See if
All
anything's
right.
changed. Let's go to terminal. It might need to be terminal run. CD down, and then oh,
Hello?
is it going to run for us? Ah, here we go. Oh, wow. A thing is actually happening.
It thinks it's bad window seems bad. Bad window.
Bad window. Create window minor code. Okay. Well, it's running.
Oh, should we be like seeing it?
We should be seeing something here. So this, indeed, itself could be another problem. Okay. So this is what it's like to run one of these things. Not everything works exactly perfectly out of the box.
To be honest, this is not that different from just regular Linux experiences that I've had. And, you know, I fully admit that maybe that's probably improved now, but, you know, for instance, doing some stuff with the like Raspberry Pi we have in Studio B did also involve some frustrating command line things.
The more I learn about Linux, the more important it is, I found, to select your hardware for what you're going to select your hardware, and that will determine which distribution you use. Go out and make sure you're confirmed that things. We have to go back to the days, unfortunately, of looking at our various pieces of hardware and finding out if they're Macintosh compatible or PC-98 compatible.
Yeah.
Except now it's, is this Manjaro compatible? Or drivers for SUSE. SUSE is still a going concern, right?
I do not know.
Yeah. The SUSE distribution.
I always thought it was SUSE.
Oh.
But I have never actually heard it spoken out loud, so I don't know.
Yeah. People are saying stick with AMD hardware. Well, hey, guess what? Okay, so in an effort of fast forwarding ahead through a bunch of the troubleshooting, which may or may not work on air, I'm just going to put this back into current known working state configuration and show you what it can do.
All right. So this is swapping in a different NVMe drive.
Yeah.
That has the system you've been tinkering with at home.
Yeah. And let's for the full meal deal, let's unplug the keyboard.
Wait, do we have a controller?
I do, yes.
Oh, I just
Brought from home. Because it's the one I used. I've plugged the USB or the USB Bluetooth adapter back in as well. And I can't remember if I've unpaired it or not.
I see. This is clearly a computer that you have customized.
Yes. Okay, no. So one of the things I need to do is repair my controller. Which means we'll need to plug the keyboard back in again. Yeah.
Repair or repair?
Repair, not repair.
Oh, I see.
The controller is fine, but it is Bluetooth paired. Unfortunately, I do work on 3 computers, one of them being stuff here, and I had to unpair. So let's go through the dance of Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth. Xbox.
We have two mesh devices.
Yeah.
Wonder what those are. Like a colander.
Oh, come on. There we go. We're all connected. So the one problem I haven't figured out yet on how to deal with is, you may have noticed when we started up the computer, it looked like this. And I need to dig into things and figure out how to make it not give me this launcher in the beginning. Otherwise, I have to then connect to the machine and drag my mouse down. But once that happens, we're good.
Right, I forgot. I guess it's been a while since I used Steam Big Picture mode. This is different than I remember it.
It's pretty good. So, 1 second here. I want to bring up something that'll give you some FPS and whatnot.
Sorry, I'm slightly distracted by major update to Power Wash Simulator 2. Miniature Village is out. Ah, that sounds awesome.
So, let's see. Oh god, oh good, I got the command. The thing plugged in. Okay. Control's a pretty heavy game, right?
Sure.
So let's properties that, and just so we get some information, let's mango HUD. And this is all stuff that's been pre-installed by Bazite, including Steam. So you're ready to log in and go immediately when the computer turns on. Okay, and then let's.
What's Mango HUD?
It's just a heads-up display.
Ah, so it's like Mango HUD actually launches the game as opposed to it launches from within Mango HUD.
Well, it launches with yeah. I guess you could say Mango HUD passes the launch along and provides an overlay view of diagnostic information.
Neat.
The other thing that I'm going to mention that is pre-installed with Bazite, which is super handy and you will absolutely need to deal with while you're dealing with Steam games, is Proton Plus, which gives you the ability to download alternative community-maintained versions of Proton. So if you've got a game that doesn't work normally, or if you want to, say, start running the pre-release versions of all these things.
Oh, so there's
Or
Proton-specific customizations for certain games.
Yeah, or say there's a game that only works on one particular version but doesn't work on the newer versions. You can specify all that here very easily.
Neat.
But let's play a game. Oh, Danielle, he's got to process those Vulkan shaders, eh?
I mean, otherwise it won't be able to show all the Vulcans.
Well, the different colors of Vulcans. And textures of Vulcans.
I guess the monitor probably doesn't... Oh, right, this is a TV. It should have some speakers or something in it. I don't know if they're actually on. But...
Ooh. James is telling me right now that that monitor is a 1440p 144 hertz gaming monitor. So maybe let's push this a little bit harder than normal? I think is what he's telling me.
This is This is a TV.
Yeah.
I think
Really?
James might be thinking this is a different monitor.
Oh, maybe then. Yeah, that's fine.
This is a TLC TV.
And TLC is the Goon King. TCL, right.
TCL.
Yeah. All right, well, it looks like we're... You do need to make a little bit of adjustment. The GPU does not run at 655% at all times.
I feel like you might be overclocking a little bit. But looks like we're at a 60 frames a second. Oh, it's going up and down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of... So this is going to push it a little bit hard.
Oh, Jesus.
120. This was actually the frame rate of the title screen being a problem. Was a thing on a couple of games where people set them up incorrectly, and if you had a poorly configured...
There's the kick.
Oh! And then the wind came in. But 100 frames a second,
Yeah,
though.
I don't think that's anything to sneeze at.
What kind of quality settings are we at now?
Let's have a look. Options. Display. HDR is not on. 1080p. No DLSS, no VSync. Film grain on. Quality custom.
So can you just like set the quality all the way up?
Yeah, let's see what that does. Give me a high.
Hi. Still pretty darn good. Down
Yeah.
to between 60 and 80.
There's some hiccuping, but again, for the price, you can't really beat it.
Very nice.
So, two things to note as well is that you're not going to get any ray tracing other than shadows out of this particular APU.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's capable of. But
Yeah.
so yeah, not too bad there.
That fan is definitely doing some work.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
In fact, actually, just for fun, let's bring up our control panel here and just see what we're doing here. Loading, ready, run. Nope, that's just me. There we go. And yeah, we are looking at 85 degrees, which is
On the CPU.
high,
That is
which is why this is pushing right now, and why I'm looking to cut these fan blades, because right now we are literally hitting the throttling as the game runs.
and 3,000 RPM on the
Yeah. So let's try something just a little bit more. I don't want to say normal, but a little bit less intense. Do we know the TJ max for this APU?
I thought most processors can get up to around 100 before they start to throttle.
Oh yeah, but this is the patch that we've got going in here that's throttling it to 85 as a maximum.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm curious about Elden Ring. I'm sure most people are curious about Elden Ring. So that's Mango Hood, and then Command.
I guess Mango Head adds a little bit of
A little bit.
overhead.
And then, actually, once we're done that, once we've done a couple seconds here in Elden Ring, let's do a superposition benchmark. And then that'll give you all numbers at home that you can compare to other numbers out there to decide if that's worth it for you. But again, in under 2 hours, plus download time, of course, you can take a piece of Bitcoin mining junk and turn it into something that plays a game. Hi, Elden Ring. A lot of this load time is probably due to my my old and well, potentially getting older Western Digital Blue SSD. Okay. Game works. Load directly into the.
And of course, this is not the Elden Ring is not native Linux. This is running in Proton or whatever.
Absolutely. So again, quality-wise, we are looking at full screen 1080, high settings,
Nice.
yeah, and ray tracing off, and it
Looking very nice. Yeah.
fairly smooth.
40 or 50.
Yeah, so we could probably, take it down from high to get a few more frames per second, but
I'm noticing, I feel like, and that's maybe just the side effect of the drivers or whatever, that it seems like while it can do some, pretty decent speeds, it's a little bit variable.
Yeah.
You know, there's more. There's the sort of whatever you call it, percent low, or 5% low, or whatever, is probably not as good as it should be given the whatever it is.
Exactly. I mean, if we...
Ow!
You know what? We done. Of course, you all know at home, if you turn down your settings, you will get better performance. But again, for something that's just out of the box.
I don't know. You seem to have died rather quickly. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's something to do with the actual system itself.
Look, if we want to play Elden Ring on stream, that's a different stream. I could launch up Armored Core as well, but that one does actually run quite a bit more quickly and smoothly.
Nice.
But let's see here. Where's my engine? Superposition. There it is. And play. Now this one we don't need the HUD on because it's going to tell you right away what the...
That's true. That is the entire point of the operation. Because I was saying to Ian that you can tell that people have a lot of trouble finding the on-off button on this monitor by all the fingerprints around the edges.
Yep. I haven't launched this from inside of Steam Big Picture recently, so I might just pull back out here and abort the game.
Okay. James was referring to the other. There's a monitor over
Okay.
there that's a gaming monitor.
Okay.
I don't know if that would give us a better. Well, it probably wouldn't really change the circumstances.
Probably not. Okay, so why you no launch for me right now? If not launch, then maybe me try launch through file system and then show you how crash happen.
Yay!
Nope, that was the wrong one. I wanted files. That's what happens. That's how it crashes when it does.
Cool.
So yeah, let's throw it back.
What would be great is on stream when it, if we had it set up so that when it crashed like that, the monitor just went transparent.
Oh hey!
It's like, oh no! It started to broadcast transparency.
I'm a little bit sad that this little rig here doesn't have enough video memory to run the current green screening hotness that's going around YouTube right now.
Yeah, that is quite an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. But it also, it seems like to get the real oomph out of it requires a pretty substantial rig.
Mm-hmm. That said, I did notice that my work laptop today, which is a MacBook Pro M4, does have 48 gigabytes of memory.
That's true. That's one of the interesting things about how the new Mac stuff handles memory.
Yeah, so I'm tempted to do some installations here. All right. So last bit here, let's exit Steam Big Picture. And then let's try the engine.
We want the little picture.
Superposition. Okay, it says it's launching. Do I trust it? Whoop, goodbye. It may just take a second to get, so let's just see what HTOP says about things. at least top. Okay. Something's happening. You can see our good friend the Science Skillfish in there, keeping the thing nice and cool. Hey Steam, why you no show? Superposition, that's good. Launch, enable Steam overlay in this game. Why? All right. Well, you know what? If it's taking its time loading, let's add FurMark to the party. You too. Ah! One more time, and then we'll maybe call it a day. This is the life of this. I have played a good 5 hours of Romeo's a Dead Man on here, which was a great time. Put the system to sleep for the night, or put it down to not even sleep, shut it off for the night. Come back the next day after a day of work, boot up Romeo is a Dead Man, and immediate green screen. So there's, like I said, a lot of variability on these things. It is not in any way a reliable console experience, but it gets damn close. You need to be a little bit familiar, or not familiar, but at least comfortable with the command line and able to read errors in a way that will be useful. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Ooh, all right, we got FurMark going.
What do we feel like? Benchmark preset 1080p?
We're at 1080. Like we don't have,
we don't
the
have
monitor's 1080, so I guess that's why it's
FurMark GL. Full screen it. Why not? Benchmark me, daddy. And run test.
Ooh.
And you can hear that just immediately spin up.
Gaze into the furry donut.
But I don't know. Does 91 frames per second feel good, folks?
Seems pretty decent.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And like I said, I ended up running this for a good hour just to stress test it in and see it working. And it's stable. When it runs, it's stable. When it just decides not to run for no reason, you need to do some troubleshooting. And sometimes it just does that for no reason.
So what you're saying is this is probably not going to be like a mass market thing in the near future.
No. Well, not this exactly. The concept is sound. The execution of taking a mining card and turning it into something useful for yourself, well, hey, I've done an episode of Tinker Tailor Solder Fry on it. I'm doing some gaming on it sometimes. I think that's, for me, projects are fun, and I call that worth the price of admission. So there we go, 60 seconds. Maximum clock, 1220 megahertz. And I can bump that up as well if I wanted to. 96 degrees on the GPU.
Oh. Now, is there, like, this is from, it says 2001. Is there, like, a more recent equivalent of this that is sort of currently being used and will, sort of work its way onto the market? Or is, are the current sort of mining rigs and stuff not, they're sort of a different style that wouldn't be able to be
my understanding is that my understanding is that the mining rigs that exist now have only become more specialized into what they're actually doing in terms of being a mining device. This was one of the last generations of general computing devices.
Right, right.
And it's really only that lucky combination of the APU being the CPU and GPU combined, the RAM, and it being so close to a PS5 in terms of its configuration that I think that's what allowed this to come together in this way. But
Interesting.
yeah, I think it's I think it's fascinating as an exercise. I think it's going to be fun as a toy.
It's unlikely to be like your go-to console, though.
Yeah, this is not what you give to this is not what you give to your significant other if you want to give them a gaming console. This is what you give to your significant other if you want to give them a project. And that a project can be a lot of fun. Hey, I managed to do X numbers of years of them. Folks, thank you so much for watching Tinker Tailor Solder Fry tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Glad to show off what we've done. Glad to show you how easy it can be and also how frustrating it can be at the same time. But if you like what you see, don't forget that you can help us out over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's where we like to send you if you want to be a supporter of all of the programs here, because, yeah, everything we do is brought to you by you. Don't forget, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun for links to all of the YouTube channels that we have, store.loadingreadyrun.com, and we broadcast live throughout the week on twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. Thank you so much once again, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ever forward, learning out of spite. Good night.